The story begins with a girl named Mallory, who is driving towards Denver City in her car. In fact, Mallory is on her way because she is about to get married soon, and that's why she is heading to Denver. Just then, she receives a call from her sister Ella, who tells her that she should have taken a plane to reach Denver. However, Mallory tells her that she is driving and doesn't have any problem with it. After this, she cuts the call. Soon, her car breaks down on the way. She tries to start the car several times and also attempts to call customer care for the automobile. But her call does not connect. After this, she goes to the back of the car and starts changing her clothes. Suddenly, she notices a man named Christian, who Mallory explains the situation to and tells him that her car has broken down. Christian offers to help her, and Mallory agrees. Christian starts working on the car, and within a short time, he fixes it. Once the car starts, Mallory thanks Christian and begins to drive away. But after covering some distance, she starts feeling guilty because Christian had helped her by fixing her car and starting it. Mallory, after leaving Christian behind on foot, starts to feel guilty and decides she could give him a lift to his destination. She reverses her car and asks Christian to get in. He agrees, and they continue their journey. Initially, Christian talks to Mallory casually, but soon his behavior becomes odd. He talks about how destiny brought them together and how it was meant to be, which annoys Mallory. She asks him to get out of the car, but instead, Christian threatens her, pulls out a knife, and demands she drive. Fearing for her safety, Mallory agrees. While driving, she notices Christian hasn't buckled his seatbelt, and she comes up with a plan to escape. At the next sharp turn, she accelerates the car, causing it to swerve off the road and crash violently, flipping over. The car is wrecked badly, and Mallory finds herself trapped, with her door pinned by a tree and blood spilling out. Christian, miraculously unharmed, mocks her and tells her she'll have to get out on her own. He won't help. He then walks away. Mallory struggles to escape the wreckage, calling for help, but despite her efforts, she remains stuck. As night falls, the cold begins to set in. Using some clothes inside the car, Mallory manages to stay warm. However, as darkness deepens, wild animals in the forest begin to stir, adding to her growing fear. As night falls, wild animals start circling around Mallory's car, causing her to panic. However, she manages to turn on the headlights, which scares the animals away. She spends the rest of the night in the car, terrified but alive. When morning arrives, Mallory tries once again to escape, but her leg is bleeding heavily and she has no food. She only has a bottle of water, so she spends another day stuck in the car. The situation becomes unbearable, and Mallory starts losing hope, thinking she might die there. Then, Christian appears again, mocking her weakened state. Mallory feels anger, but she's powerless to do anything since she's trapped. Christian reveals that he's taken over a nearby house because the family who lives there is away. He's now living there and taking their food to survive. While Mallory is helplessly watching, Christian starts eating in front of her, drinking cold drinks and teasing her. Seeing her condition, Christian decides to leave her there and walks away. As night falls again, Mallory, desperate to stay warm, uses a lighter to start a small fire near the car. She eventually falls asleep, but her rest is disturbed when rats begin crawling on her body. Disturbed by this, she kills one with a stick and eats it since she hasn't eaten for 3 days. She even drinks her own urine to quench her thirst, which helps for a while. The next morning, Mallory is awakened by her phone ringing. She tries to reach for it, but before she can, Christian appears, and instinctively, she hides the phone, fearing that he will take it from her. Christian tells Mallory that the family of the house he's been staying in has returned, but he has locked them up and is torturing them. He then claims he'll help Mallory, offering to get her out of the car. But before he does, he snatches her hidden phone away, because he doesn't want her to call for help. He enjoys seeing her in such a helpless state. Despite this, he reassures her that he'll assist her in getting out of the car. He hands her a saw and explains that she can use it to escape. Mallory, confused, tells him that the saw won't help her cut through the door. Christian reveals his twisted plan. She will have to cut off her own foot to get out. Furious at his suggestion, Mallory becomes even more angry at him. After some time, Christian leaves. Mallory attempts to use the saw on the door, but fails. Exhausted, she once again lies helpless in the car. As time passes, her condition worsens. She hasn't eaten for days and is incredibly thirsty. However, her luck changes when it starts raining. She collects water in a plastic bag, quenching her thirst. Turning on the car radio, she hears news reports about severe rainfall in the city and the possibility of floods. Meanwhile, people are advised to avoid the national highway due to rising water levels. Mallory feels a surge of hope when she hears that people are leaving the city via the same route where she's stuck, thinking that someone might come to rescue her. After a short while, a car pulls up, and it turns out to be Christian's car. Seeing him approach, Mallory quickly comes up with a plan. She smears the blood of a rat on her body, hoping it will make Christian believe she's dead from cutting off her foot so he might attack her, thinking she's no longer a threat. When Christian arrives and sees what he believes to be Mallory's lifeless body, he approaches the car and checks her. This is when Mallory seizes the opportunity, attacking him, grabbing his car keys and tossing them into the forest. Christian then runs to the highway, but just as he reaches it, a police car arrives. He tells the officer that his car broke down, and the policeman offers to help him, taking him away. Despite Mallory's desperate cries for help, the heavy rain drowns out her voice, and Christian is taken by the police, leaving Mallory behind once again, trapped and hopeless. In her mind, Mallory is convinced that she's going to die here. There's no way Christian will let her survive. After a brief moment of despair, she decides she must cut off her foot if she wants to escape and save her life. Summoning all her courage, she begins to cut. But just as she's struggling, a flood starts to form due to the heavy rain, and the car begins to float away. The force of the water opens the car door, and Mallory, finally free, escapes from the wreck. She swims toward the highway, but in the distance she spots a house in the woods, and she realizes it might be the same house Christian had been taking food from. The thought crosses her mind. He must be keeping a family captive there. Mallory, hearing the screams from the house, makes a decision to move forward and take revenge on Christian for all the suffering he has caused her. As she approaches the cabin, she notices that the owner of the house had set traps around the perimeter to protect against wild animals. Inside the house, Mallory finds that Christian has brutally killed the house's owner and the police officer, who had tried to help her. Mallory enters another room where she discovers a girl bound by Christian. She begins to free the girl, but is interrupted when Christian arrives. Mallory, however, has a gun she took from the police officer's body. Before she can shoot, Christian attacks her, and a violent fight ensues. In the struggle, Mallory manages to drag Christian outside and throws him off the house. He falls directly into one of the traps, where his leg gets caught and he begins to bleed heavily. As Christian struggles and his condition worsens, Mallory approaches him and offers to help. She gives him a knife and tells him that the only way to escape the trap is by cutting off his own foot. Mallory is now speaking in the same cruel way Christian had once spoken to her, and the sight of his suffering gives her a sense of justice. Christian, in his desperate state, realizes that Mallory is right. After a brief pause, Mallory leaves him to die, taking the girl with her. Christian, unable to escape, slowly dies from blood loss, writhing in agony. With that, the story comes to an end as Christian's reign of terror is over. Mallory, having fought back, finds her freedom. The movie closes with the final words, asking the audience to share their thoughts in the comments and to subscribe for more interesting stories.